Hey Track Gang, what's going on in this week's episode of the Boeville in Newtown? Well, it's right over here. Stand by and we'll get into what's happening this week. Hey Track Gang, here we are back with another one of those special odd videos, I guess. I've been trying to get these done for a couple weeks now, and of course you all know what's been going on over here, so I'm not going to dive into that. But I did want to go ahead and post these videos because I haven't posted a video in a bit because of what's been going on. So, what I've got here is, I believe, Ron Montague was the one that came up with a boxcar challenge. Now, a couple of caveats here, real quick. I did not run every boxcar that I have. There's a reason for that. Number one of the boxcars actually ended up with a coupler issue. It's back on the workbench. I haven't had a chance to dig into that yet. I believe that was my father's old Revell Minneapolis and St. Louis car. The coupler box just came off of it, and I just haven't had a chance to go back and mess with it. That's number one. Number two, I decided that I was going to do something a little bit different, and I was going to run these behind some steam engines, which presented problem number two. My steam engines are still horn hooks, which meant that I had to have a transition car between the boxcars and the locomotive. So what I decided to do is both trains, the very first car behind the locomotive is a stock car. That is one of my transitions. It's KD on one end, horn hook on the other. I figured it looked better than putting a flat car or a covered hopper behind the locomotive, so that's what we did. At least it's boxcar-esque, or boxcar-ish, however you want to look at it. And I believe, and of course I left my piece of paper over there, but one of them had 21 cars, the other one had 23. One of the locomotives obviously is my 282, which I believe was the southbound locomotive, and then the northbound locomotive ended up being the 210-2, the AHM locomotive. So they got a chance to stretch their legs with quite a few cars. Now again, as I mentioned in the Caboose Challenge video, most of my boxcars, with the exception of I think a couple of them, are actually weighted to NMRA standards, which presents a lot of load. So it took a bit to get this done, but I did get them to pretty much run the layout. I did have one uncoupling, I think, at one point, and it was because of the fact that I still don't understand exactly what happened. I got to go back and take a look at the KD coupler on the Ma and Pa 50-foot boxcar. I think the trip pin might be a little bit low on the one end, and it seemed like when it got to the three-way switch outside of Boeville, it wanted to catch. So I'll have to go back and take a look at that. The other part to this, the other caveat to this whole thing was, as I was saying, I didn't run every boxcar that I had. The other boxcars that were not on these trains were the ones either in Boeville Yard or the ones at RBC Distribution, at American Copper and Brass, and also over at Newtown Station. I didn't want to mess up my operating session that I had going on, so I was afraid that if I started mixing things up that I'd have stuff where it didn't belong. So I just decided not to run those cars on the boxcar trains. So without further ado, let's get into Ron Montague's Boxcar Challenge.